Asthma, the bronchial tube is narrowed due to inflammation and muscles contraction. And below you can see some sign and symptom of asthma, and above and some well-known risk factor of asthma, including respiratory infection. Next slide, please. So this is the early study which shows that the slide is not clear for me here from here. So the study shows that early colonization of bacteria in the hypopharynx region is associated with risk of asthma and early episode of wheeze and risk of hospitalizations. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, human lung is not sterile. It consists of certain microbiota. The microbiota composition in the lungs is determined by different environmental, genetic, and acquired and adaptive immune response. And you can see when there is a dysbiosis in the lungs, there will be increase in the proteobacteria, formicutes, and actinobacteria. And this bacteria produce different component and which can cause the lung inflammation, as well as the increase in the T helper cell function, which can trigger the asthma. Next slide, please. Yeah, in this study, we hypothesized that when there is a dysbiosis in oral cavity, it can the microbiome, pathogenic microbiota can transform to the lungs by the oral lung axis and by the process of microbial immigration. And below you can see the comparison between the healthy lung versus in case of the asthma. You can see the bacterial composition is changed. Even some bacteria is lost in case of asthma. Here you can see the formicute is absent in case of the asthma. Next slide, please. In this study, we can you make it enlarge? I can't see the slide. It's very poor resolution. In this study, we included 477 participants from Reynisha, Bergen between 2014 and 15. And information was collected by using the questionnaire, and some clinical examination was performed. And we excluded those who had used antibiotics 4 weeks prior to participate in this study. And as you can see how the sample was collected by using the sterile paper point. Next slide, please. So after the sample collection, DNA extraction was done, and for the, yeah. So I can see the down to here. We targeted DNA was amplified by using these two primer targeting B1 and B2 region, and pre-processing step sequencing was done, and pre-processing step was done by using the CHIME, and taxonomy assignment was done by using the human oral microbiome database. Yeah, next slide, please. And this is a basic characteristic table of the participant. It's very poor resolution. I can't see anything from the text here when you divide this. So yeah, now I'm fine. So there was 30 asthma cases, and as expected, there were more asthma among women than in the male, and PMI was lower in female, and lung function was lower in female as compared to the male. Next slide, please. And this is the phylum composition of, this is the overall, this is the phylum composition of overall sample. Mostly dominant phyla was bacteroids and formicutes, and there is a heat map comparing the two group disease versus the healthy subject and distribution of the phyla. So next slide, please. So we calculated the alpha diversity. Alpha diversity is the comparing within the alpha diversity is the comparing within the subject. We have calculated the Shannon alpha diversity, which we take into account both richness and evenness, and you can see there was no significant difference between the asthma versus the non-disease cases. The p-value is not significant, and even when we stratified based on the gender, and it was not significant. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah, we calculated the beta diversity. It is a comparison between two groups, and there is no clear separation between the healthy versus the disease. As you can see, the and there is no clear separation, and even in stratified analysis based on the gender, the p-value was not significant. Next slide, please. So we performed the differential abundance analysis by using the ANCOM, and what we found that there were 8 taxa that was significantly different among the as compared to the 2 groups, and you can see mostly gram-positive bacteria was lower. The relative abundance of the gram-positive bacteria was lower in the disease cases as compared to the healthy subject, while as the opportunistic pathogen was higher among the asthma cases. And even though you can see the relative abundance is lower, but the percentage prevalence of this bacteria in the overall sample was quite okay. So in this table, you can see the genera and the phylum of this specific taxa, which was significant in the ANCOM analysis. Next slide, please. Yeah, from this analysis, we can conclude that lower abundance of protobacteria and actinobacteria were found in the person with asthma compared to the healthy subject. So as this is the 16S data set, so and cross-sectional design, so we can suggest that further longitudinal study, further longitudinal studies are needed using the short-term sequencing data as study design. Yes. Next slide, please. Yeah, I would like to thank ERC for providing the grant for this project, and of course for the Randy who received this fund and conceptualized this study. And yes, next slide. Yes, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That was a nice presentation, and also a bit new for us because
I was not lost because the resolution was very poor. There, even I can see what was written over there.
I see. I mean, I think we're all struggling with new obstacles now in this new digital framework. But you did very well, so we are very happy.
I managed. I tried my best. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I just have a question regarding sampling. I mean, you use this gingival sampling. How does that compare to, for example, sampling spit samples? And do you need to be in a fasting state? Are there a lot of precautions you need to take for these oral microbiome samplings?
Actually, I was not involved in the recruiting process, so they have some protocol. I don't remember actually in my head now. I think that they have set up certain time and asked for the possible fasting before participating in the study.
Okay.
I assume. Yeah.
Thank you. Johannes, are there any questions from the audience?
Actually, no questions from the audience. I have one question though. Did you see any separation on drug treatment? You know, like inhaled steroids, for instance.
Yeah, very interesting question. Still, I'm working with this analysis, and this is a very preliminary data, and we are looking the microbial composition at the oral cavity with the lung function as well. But I didn't get a time to check based on the drugs intake. Yeah, that definitely I will do that.